The observation lounge of Station Meridian floated in the void between human and Koilathi space, a neutral ground where two civilizations were attempting their first meaningful contact. I pressed my forehead against the cool glass, watching the distant stars shimmer like scattered diamonds. My name's Ethan Rivers. I'm an engineer, not a diplomat, but when the original envoy fell ill, Earth needed someone who understood alien technology. Someone expendable. The door behind me whooshed open. I turned, expecting another human staffer, but instead found myself staring at the most peculiar being I had ever seen. She was barely 3 feet tall, her entire body covered in crystalline formations that refracted light into rainbow patterns across the walls. Her skin was a translucent pink, and 2 enormous amber eyes dominated her delicate face. Her hair looked like thin, fiber-optic strands, glowing faintly blue. She wore what looked like a jumpsuit made of liquid mercury, constantly shifting around her. In her tiny hands, she clutched a datapad that seemed comically oversized. When she smiled, her teeth sparkling like quartz, I felt my heart do a little flip. "Hello, human representative." Her voice was musical and light, like wind chimes. "I am Nixara, junior scientist of the Kilathi Research Collective. I apologize for my delayed arrival. Your atmospheric pressure gave me initial difficulties." I finally managed to close my mouth and extend my hand. "Ethan Rivers. Just an engineer, really. They sent me because I fixed a Quilathi energy converter once." Nixara stared at my outstretched hand with fascination. She reached up, her tiny fingers barely wrapping around 2 of mine. Her touch felt warm, almost vibrating with energy. "This is your greeting custom. We studied it extensively. Your species exchanges dermal contact to establish trust and assess health through micro-expressions and pulse readings." "That's surprisingly accurate," I admitted, impressed. "Most species we've met think handshakes are dominance displays. Quilathi pride themselves on thorough research." Nixara released my hand, but kept studying me with those huge amber eyes. "You are much larger than our projections suggested. Our data indicated average human males measured 1.7 meters. You exceed this significantly." I chuckled. "I'm on the taller side at 6'3", but you're much smaller than I expected. No offense intended, none perceived." She tilted her head, her crystals catching the light. "Quilathi evolved on a high-gravity world. Our compact size proved advantageous. We may be small, but we are remarkably dense and durable." She moved past me toward the observation window, her movements graceful despite her size. The view immediately captured her attention. "Your star system appears violent compared to ours. So much chaos, so much energy. How do humans survive in such turbulence?" "We adapt," I said, joining her at the window. "Humans are good at adapting, sometimes too good. We push ourselves into dangerous situations just to see if we can survive them." "Fascinating." Nixara glanced up at me, having to crane her neck considerably. "This must be the human characteristic called stubbornness." Our scholars debated whether it represented bravery or foolishness. "Probably both," I said with a grin. "Depends on the day." We stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching a supply shuttle drift past the station. Then Nixara suddenly reached into a pouch on her suit and pulled out a small, humming device. She pointed it at me, and a holographic display appeared in the air between us. Forgive my curiosity, but I must conduct baseline scans. A soft blue light washed over me. Koilathi protocol requires biological assessment before extended contact. Your species is still largely unknown to us. Scan away, I said, trying not to feel self-conscious. What are you looking for? Primarily your energy signature. Nixara studied the holographic readings with intense concentration. All life forms emit specific frequencies. Humans broadcast at an unusually high amplitude. Very warm, very active. The readings suddenly spiked, and her eyes widened. Your central power core is remarkable. The energy output rivals our own fusion hearts. I blinked in confusion. What now? Your core. She pointed at my chest. Here, the primary energy generation organ. It operates at incredible efficiency, pumping thermal and electrical current throughout your body. Remarkable engineering. Understanding dawned on me, followed by amusement. You mean my heart? That's not really a power core. It's just a muscle that pumps blood. Nixara looked genuinely confused. Just a muscle? But the energy signatures indicate complex electrical activity, rhythmic power generation, and system-wide distribution networks. This sounds precisely like a biological reactor. It keeps me alive, I explained, trying not to laugh. But it's not generating power like you're thinking. It's just moving fluid around. Oxygen, nutrients, that sort of thing. The tiny alien scientist appeared skeptical. Her crystals dimmed slightly, a sign of doubt. May I examine it more closely? I must verify this claim. Koilathi science demands empirical evidence. Before I could even respond, Nixara stepped forward and pressed both of her tiny hands against my chest. The touch sent an unexpected jolt through me, partly from surprise and partly from something else. Her hands were warm, and the crystals on her fingers pulsed with a soft light. Extraordinary, she whispered, her face pressed close to my sternum. The vibrations are incredibly strong. I can feel the rhythm through your tissue. How does such a simple mechanism generate enough force for a being your size? I found myself very aware of how close she was, of how her strange beauty was completely captivating. Evolution? Four-chambered heart, efficient design, millions of years of refinement. But the electromagnetic field it produces. Nixara looked up at me, her huge eyes filled with wonder. I have never detected anything like this in organic life, Ethan Rivers. Your heart is fascinating. Something in the way she said my name, with such genuine enthusiasm, made me smile. You know, in human culture, when someone says you have a fascinating heart, it usually means something different. Different how? Her crystals brightened with curiosity. I felt my cheeks warm up. It means they find you interesting as a person, emotionally compelling. The heart is associated with feelings, not just biology. Oh, Nixara's entire body suddenly glowed brighter, her crystals refracting light in complex patterns. Then I must inform you. By that definition, I find your heart very fascinating indeed. We stood there, human and alien, in a neutral station floating between worlds. Outside, the stars wheeled in their ancient dance. Inside, something new was beginning, sparked by a misunderstanding about biology and sustained by something far more universal than science could ever measure. A beep from the CUM system broke the moment. Attention all personnel. Formal negotiations begin in 1 hour. All delegates report to Conference Hall 3. Nixara stepped back reluctantly, her glow dimming to normal. I should prepare my presentation. The elders will want detailed reports on human physiology. And I should probably figure out what I'm supposed to negotiate, I admitted, though I'm just an engineer. I fix things, not entire interstellar relations. Perhaps that is precisely why they sent you. Nixara smiled, a gesture that seemed so very human. Sometimes the best diplomats are those who see problems as things to be fixed, rather than battles to be won. As she walked toward the door, I called out, Nixara, will I see you at the negotiations? She turned, her crystals shimmering. I am assigned as the technical observer. We will be working closely together for the coming weeks. After she left, I returned to the window, but the stars seemed different now. Less cold, less distant, and somewhere in my chest, my thoroughly ordinary heart beat with extraordinary anticipation for what came next. Thanks for tuning in for this sci-fi story reading. If you enjoyed this tale of first contact, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures from across the galaxy. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. See you next time. The conference hall stretched before them like a cathedral of diplomacy. Curved walls displayed star charts and resource maps, while a circular table dominated the center, designed to give no species advantage. Ethan adjusted his formal jacket, feeling out of place among the professional diplomats. Nearby, Captain Brennan Cole stood, his military uniform crisp, his eyes missing nothing. Engineer Rivers. Captain Cole extended a hand. I'll be leading our security assessment. Your technical expertise may prove valuable, but let the diplomats handle the talking. Understood? Ethan nodded, relieved. Perfectly understood, sir. I'm much better with machines than people anyway. Good man, Cole said, surveying the room. The Quailathi are an unknown quantity. Small, fragile-looking, but our intelligence suggests they possess weapons technology centuries ahead of ours. We proceed carefully. Across the hall, the Quailathi delegation entered. Leading them was High Scholar Tyvex, an elderly Quailathi whose crystals had deepened to purple with age. He stood a mere 3.5 feet tall, leaning on a staff that pulsed with inner light. Behind him, Ethan spotted Nyxara, her pink crystals bright with what he was learning to recognize as excitement. When their eyes met, she gave a small, almost shy wave. The human delegation was led by Ambassador Judith Park, a severe woman who had negotiated treaties with 4 other alien species. Ethan sat in the back row, trying to be invisible. High Scholar Tyvex tapped his staff against the floor, and the room fell silent. We gather in the space between our worlds. The Quailathi Collective extends greeting to humanity. May this meeting birth understanding? Ambassador Park stood. On behalf of Earth and her colonies, we accept your greeting. We come seeking peaceful cooperation and mutual benefit. The formal pleasantries went on for what felt like an eternity. Ethan's attention drifted to Nyxara, who was busy at a side table covered in scanning equipment. She worked with focused intensity, occasionally glancing up at him with those enormous, captivating eyes. Each time their gazes met, her crystals brightened noticeably. We must address the primary concern. Tyvex's voice cut through the room. The Meridian Cluster contains resources both our peoples need. How do humans propose we share this limited bounty? Ambassador Park was ready. Earth proposes a joint mining operation. We contribute engineering and labor. The Quailathi contribute processing technology. Resources split equally. Tyvex conferred quietly with his advisors, their crystals flickering in silent communication. The Quailathi require assurances. Human history suggests a tendency toward aggressive resource acquisition. How do we trust you will honor such agreements? Captain Cole tensed beside Ethan, his jaw tightening. But Ambassador Park remained calm. A fair question. We propose mutual observation posts. Complete transparency. The negotiations grew more technical, and Ethan was beginning to feel entirely useless when Nyxara suddenly stood. Forgive my interruption, honored elders, but I have detected a discrepancy that may affect these negotiations. She gestured to her equipment. My analysis of human biology reveals significant variations. We may have misunderstood fundamental aspects of human capability. All eyes turned to the tiny scientist. Explain, junior scholar, Tyvex prompted. Nyxara activated a holographic display showing Ethan's bioscan. Human power generation is not centralized. More concerning, their thermal output suggests they operate at dangerous temperatures that would damage our technology. Ethan stood without thinking. That's just body heat. We run at about 37 Celsius. Is that a problem? The Quailathi delegation erupted in agitated crystal flickering. Tyvex struck his staff for silence. That temperature would degrade our primary computational matrices within hours. Shared facilities would require significant thermal management. Ambassador Park tried to smooth things over. This is a technical challenge, not an insurmountable barrier. Human engineers are excellent at thermal control. But there is more, Nixara said, clearly nervous, but driven by scientific duty. Human respiration produces significant carbon dioxide. Our analysis indicates levels that would be toxic to Quilathi in enclosed spaces. The mood in the room soured. Captain Cole leaned toward Ethan and whispered, "This could sink everything before it starts." Ethan's engineering mind kicked into gear. He saw problems to be solved, not barriers. High Scholar Tyvex, with respect, these challenges are manageable. Humans have lived in hostile environments for our entire existence. We build habitats underwater, in deserts, in the vacuum of space. We can build facilities that accommodate both our species. Tyvex regarded him with ancient eyes. You speak with confidence, young human. But confidence is not the same as capability. And let us prove it, Ethan stepped forward. Give us a test. A small joint project here on the station. If we can work together here, we can work together anywhere. Ambassador Park looked like she wanted to strangle him, but Nixara intervened. I support this proposal, she said, looking directly at Ethan, her crystals glowing bright pink. Scientific methodology requires testing hypotheses. I volunteer to work with Engineer Rivers on environmental compatibility solutions. After a moment of silent, flickering consultation, Tyvex nodded. The Quilathi Collective accepts. Junior Scholar Nixara will work with Engineer Rivers. We reconvene in 3 planetary rotations to assess progress. As the meeting adjourned, Captain Cole grabbed Ethan's arm. What the hell was that, Rivers? You just volunteered us for an impossible task. Do you have any idea how to do this? Not yet, Ethan admitted. But I'll figure it out. That's what engineers do. You have 72 hours, the captain said, shaking his head. Make it work. As the crowd dispersed, Nixara approached. That was either very brave or very foolish, Ethan Rivers. He smiled down at her. Someone recently told me those two things are often the same with humans. I guess we're working together now. I must confess something, she said. I volunteered not purely for scientific reasons. There is something about you that fascinates me. She reached up on her toes and placed a tiny hand over his heart. This organ of yours ... it beats faster now. Among Quilathi, such changes indicate emotional response. Am I causing this reaction? Yes, Ethan admitted, surprised by his own honesty. You are definitely causing this reaction. Good. Her smile was radiant. Because when I am near you, my crystals resonate at frequencies reserved for deep attachment. My people will notice soon. They may disapprove. Let them disapprove. Ethan knelt so they were closer to eye level. We just convinced our leaders to let us work together. Might as well make the most of it. Nixara's crystals flared so bright that passing diplomats turned to look. Then we should begin immediately. My quarters or yours? For work, Ethan clarified, grinning. Of course, she said, her innocent expression betrayed by the dancing lights across her crystalline skin. Strictly professional collaboration. As they walked off together, High Scholar Tyvex watched them go. He turned to his advisor and chuckled, a sound like crystal bells. No, we will not intervene. Sometimes the best diplomacy happens when young hearts discover what old minds forget. In the human area, Captain Cole made a similar observation to Ambassador Park. Your engineer and their scientist. There's something developing there. Park nodded. The question is whether that helps or hurts our negotiations. Cole surprised her with a smile. In my experience, Ambassador, nothing motivates people quite like love. If those two want to make this work, they will move mountains to do it. Above them, the station turns slowly in space, a tiny point of light where 2 civilizations reached across the darkness, unaware that what was truly being constructed in a small research lab wasn't just a bridge between worlds, but a future built together. Thank you for tuning in to this story. If you enjoyed this journey across the stars, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new adventure. We'll see you in the next one. For 3 straight days, the lab was a whirlwind of activity, a symphony of human and alien tech. Ethan wiped sweat from his brow, the air a delicate balance between human comfort and Colathi tolerance. He and Nixara, a being of crystal and intellect, stood before their creation, an atmospheric processor that could create separate air zones within the same room. A true marvel. "This is incredible." Nixara's crystals pulsed with excitement as she studied her datapad. "The carbon dioxide scrubbers are at 97% efficiency. Better than I predicted." Ethan grinned. "Your computational matrices made it possible. My engineering, your processing power. We created something neither of us could achieve alone." Nixara looked up, her huge amber eyes catching the lab lights. "You always speak of collaboration. Is this a human cultural value?" Ethan sat on a workbench to get closer to her height. "Not always. We have a long, painful history of conflict. But we've learned that when we actually cooperate, we can achieve remarkable things." She moved closer, a warmth radiating from her small form. "The Koilathi are similar. Our collective survived by merging individual brilliance into group achievement. Yet, I find myself drawn to human individualism. The way you take personal responsibility, make decisions without endless consultation. Is that unusual for your people?" Ethan asked, genuinely curious. Her crystals dimmed slightly. "Very. My interest in working alone, my fascination with your species, my feelings for you. These mark me as different. Perhaps. Defective, not defective," Ethan said softly, gently lifting her chin. "Unique, special, brave enough to follow your own path." Her crystals flared brightly. She placed both small hands on his knee. "Ethan Rivers, you make my internal resonance patterns completely unstable. My biological rhythms synchronize with yours when we work together. Do you understand what this means?" His heart pounded. "I think so. Among humans, we'd say there's chemistry between us. A connection. Chemistry," she tested the word. "An appropriate metaphor. Elements combining to create something new. Yes, that describes this perfectly." Just then, the lab door slid open. Captain Cole and High Scholar Tyvex entered, their faces grim. Ethan's stomach tightened. Engineer Rivers, Junior Scholar Nixara. Cole's military tone softened as he saw their work. "Impressive progress. Command is pleased. The Kulathi Collective also acknowledges your achievement," Tyvex added, tapping his staff. "You have proven our species can work together. The joint mining operation will proceed." Relief flooded Ethan. They did it. But Tyvex held up a hand. "Success in technical matters does not address all concerns. There are personal complications." Nixara's crystals flickered. "High Scholar, I can explain." "No explanation is needed, child," Tyvex said, his own purple crystals pulsing gently. "Your bonding frequencies are visible to anyone with proper sensors. You have formed an attachment to this human. This is unprecedented and problematic." Captain Cole crossed his arms. "Command shares similar concerns. Fraternization between species could complicate diplomatic relations." "With respect, sir," Ethan interrupted, standing protectively near Nixara. "We haven't violated any regulations. We've worked professionally and produced results that benefit both our peoples." "Professional. Collaboration does not cause bonding frequencies," Tyvex countered, his gaze softening with paternal concern. "Junior Scholar, you are young. This Engineer Rivers will age and fade while you remain vital for centuries. Have you considered this?" The words hit Ethan like a punch. He hadn't thought about their lifespans. The implications were dizzying. Nixara's crystals dimmed to a distressed gray. "I have considered everything, High Scholar. The temporal incompatibility, the biological differences. Logic suggests we abandon this connection. Yet my resonance patterns insist otherwise. I cannot simply deactivate feelings because they are inconvenient." The Quilathi elder sighed. "If this becomes public, Conservative factions will use it as evidence that humans corrupt our values. It could undermine everything. Ambassador Park will say the same, Cole added with a hint of sympathy. Some battles can't be won, Rivers. Sometimes the smart thing is to retreat. Anger rose in Ethan. So we just give up? Pretend we feel nothing? Go back to our separate worlds and forget we ever met? That would be wisest. Tyvek's voice was final. No. Nyxora's voice rang out, her crystals blazing a brilliant, defiant pink. I am Quilafi. We are a people of science and logic, but we are also capable of great passion when we find something worth fighting for. And I have found that in Ethan Rivers. She turned to face the elder. High Scholar, you taught me that true discovery requires courage. Ethan and I proved our species can work together. Now we will prove we can love together. A stunned silence filled the room. Tyvek's crystals flickered through a rainbow of colors. Love, the elder tested the word, a human concept. Quilafi do not speak of love. We have bonding, resonance. Love suggests something more chaotic. Maybe that's what we need, Ethan said, taking Nyxora's hand. Maybe both our peoples need to learn that logic and emotion aren't enemies. That passion and reason can work together, just like we did in this lab. Cole rubbed his temples. Do you understand the scrutiny you'll face? The challenges? We understand. Nyxora squeezed Ethan's hand. We also understand that every great achievement began with someone willing to face those challenges. Tyvek and Cole shared a long look. Finally, the Quilafi elder chuckled. You remind me of myself when I was young, Junior Scholar. Very well. The Quilafi Collective will not forbid this bond, but neither will we officially sanction it. You proceed at your own peril. Cole nodded. Earth Command will take the same position. Off-the-record support, public neutrality. If this blows up, don't expect a rescue. Understood, sir. Ethan felt a massive weight lift. Thank you. As the leaders left, Tyvek paused at the door. Junior Scholar, one more thing. Your parents will want to meet this human. I suggest you prepare him adequately. Your mother can be intimidating. They were gone. Ethan and Nyxora stood in the quiet, still holding hands, the gravity of their commitment settling in. I have to meet your parents? Ethan tried to sound light. How terrifying can they be? My mother is the chief resonance engineer for our home world. She can manipulate crystal frequencies with her thoughts, Nyxora said, her eyes filled with worry. My father is on the High Council. They will test you in ways you cannot imagine. Ethan knelt, bringing himself eye to eye with her. Then I better start studying, because I'm not giving you up without a fight. Her crystals blazed. Among my people, such dedication is honored with a bonding ceremony. It involves harmonic synchronization and the exchange of light patterns. Would you participate? I would do anything that means we stay together. Ethan leaned forward, pressing his forehead gently against hers. Human or Quilafi, love is love. And I love you, Nyxora. Her crystals sang, a sound like heavenly music. That is the first time anyone has said those words to me. Among Quilafi, we say, your light completes my spectrum. It means the same thing. Then your light completes my spectrum too. They kissed. An awkward, tender meeting of different biologies, united by something that transcended form. Her lips were warm, tasting of faint minerals. Her crystals pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, painting the lab in rainbow colors. Word spread through Station Meridian like wildfire. A human and a Quilafi had bonded. Some saw it as beautiful, others dangerous. But everyone knew it was historic. In the following days, they presented their atmospheric processor. It worked flawlessly. The joint mining operation was approved, and construction began on the Meridian Cluster colony. At its heart, in a special facility designed for both species, Ethan and Nyxora built their home. They faced challenges, daily cultural missteps, biological quirks, and the constant scrutiny of two civilizations. But they faced it all together. 6 months later, Ethan stood in the observation lounge where they first met. Nixara nestled against his side, fitting perfectly under his arm. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked quietly. "Choosing this difficult path?" "Never." He looked down at the brilliant being who had changed his universe. "Every challenge is worth it. You are worth it." Her crystals glowed with contentment. The Qualathi have a saying, "The brightest light shines in the deepest darkness." You taught me the truth of those words, Ethan Revers. In the darkness of space between our worlds, we created something that shines brighter than any star. Together, they watched Station Meridian turn, a tiny point of light where two hearts had found each other across impossible distances, where an engineer and a scientist had proven that love, like light, knows no boundaries. And in the vastness of space, their story was just beginning. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.